Hello boys and girls and welcome along to Cairn Hill Cabin in County Cavan in Ireland, and my name is Margaret McKenna. Hopefully the live stream will stay okay today. It did go a little bit funny the other day, so hopefully we'll manage to get through with no problems, and if not, I'll come back to it, don't worry, I'll continue where I was. Okay, so one of your suggestions that I was asked to do was a panda, and I actually really enjoy doing this one. Funnily enough, now I mean I enjoy them all, but I kind of was thinking, oh, panda, like just sitting there, and I thought, I've put all the bamboo behind him, and I thought the bamboo makes a nice little pattern behind him. I think it does anyhow. And for this is why I'm using 2 pages. The reason is because if I use the 2 pages, I can put like this. I have a smaller sheet and a bigger sheet. The smaller sheet, I'm going to put my panda on that, and I'm going to stick it on afterwards. The reason is because I can draw the lines right through, and I don't have to go around him, and he's easy to cut out, and that's the main thing, because if he's easy to cut out, it means then that I can easily stick him on. If he's very hard to cut out, I wouldn't bother. Okay, so I hope you can see it all right. If you can, just give me a thumbs up or something or whatever, that'd be great. Okay, so what we're going to start with our bamboo. So we've got our big sheet here, and now I'm using watercolor paints, or poster paints I should say, which are a type of water paint, I suppose, and I have a little bit of acrylic in there too, because I actually run out of, like my blackest, for example, is acrylic, but you can mix the two because they are both water paints. So okay, so you could use markers, you could use crayons, you could use pencil crayons in this. It's quite easy to do. It's a nice little easy one, this now. It really is. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit, in my case what I used is a little bit of brown, it's quite dark, and a bit of yellow. So I wanted to make that brown a bit lighter. I didn't want to make it too dark. You could, if you're using pencil crayons or crayons, you might have a nice kind of a light browny colour would do, and it would be just as good. So I'm using a little brown and, as I say, and a little bit of yellow here for my background, because my background I think is I think it works really well. I like the idea of just being able to go and do all the lines and then coming back and sticking the panda on top of it afterwards. So, okay, so we start off. Now, bamboo goes really straight up, but I put a few other ones going to the side. They could be broken ones, because it just makes it more interesting, I think. So this is really easy. So listen, this is my mix of yellow and brown, and I'm just going to come down the page with my brush. As I say, you can use crayons, you could use pencil crayons, you could use markers. Might be a bit heavy. Well, no, I suppose you could have, if I like colour in the marker, you could do it. So I'm going to put across over here. I'm not doing them the same exactly. You see, I'm not copying even exactly what I have there. So you can do your own version of this, and don't make them all too much exactly the same space apart. Okay, so you can move them a little bit. Hello, hi there. How's everything? Hello, Faith. Fiacra. Hi, Cairn. So I'm going to just go across like this. Okay, so we're going to this is quite nice. It's a nice little one, this, to do. I really enjoyed this, I have to admit. Really did. Because you can do this random. This is very random. Really random. And I'm bringing it just nearly the bottom. It doesn't matter if you go to the bottom. I'm going to put a bit of grass on the bottom, but I actually put them all the way to the bottom and went over it with the grass afterwards. So it doesn't really matter, whichever way you want to do it. It doesn't matter. So we're going to do a few more here. And we can do, I think these ones are a little bit thicker because I used a different brush, but that is also fine. I'll just let that one go nearly off the page here. And I think I'll do a few cross ones as well. So these could be broken bamboos, ones that kind of they've got a bit broken, because bamboo does kind of grow up straight. It also makes it more interesting, I think. So we'll put one maybe here, like that. And maybe put another one. They're fairly straight though, because the bamboos they're inclined to be they grow very fast too. I think they're the fastest growing plant. And they grow very high. When you get it warm enough, they grow very high. Oh, it's a bit more brown in that, but I don't mind that being a bit too brown, because I want different colours going through it. Makes it more interesting and more real in a sense too. So we're going to do all the colours like this, just literally going through here like that. Now, what is kind of handy is you could come back after, let that dry for a minute if you had a pencil crayon and a brown one, and you can do the next bit. I'm going to use a smaller brush and do it with the paint, but it's really up to yourself what way you do this. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the brown, a small brush, and I'm going to get some brown like that, And I'm just going to go and mark the lines going up them. Don't make them too close together. And remember, if there's one going behind another, just decide which bit of bamboo is going behind the other one, if you know what I mean, so that you don't kind of end up having lines going across each other. So I'm going to start the middle one, and then I'm going, this one is going to go, I'll put this one on the very top, so this one go up here. Oh, that's a bit thick. Now we go through all of these like that. Now we do another one here like that. Just work your way out through them all. As I say, you can stop and look at this afterwards if you want, if you miss anything, but this bit is very simple. It really is just straightforward, little tick tick ticks along the whole way down. It's like a pattern nearly in the background. It's almost like sort of wallpaper or something. Now, see, like that. And remember, if you have any suggestions, will you please let me know, because I'd love to just do what you know, any suggestions you have goes into my little tub here, which I will have at the end of class, and I will pick out the next one. If I don't see them on the live stream, if you can put up a comment. See, I'm on my phone now, and it's slightly different the way it works, so I'm a bit confused about it, to be honest, but sure. The main thing is to get it that it doesn't interrupt like it did the last time, so hopefully it won't. But I can't promise you anything, because phones do their own thing sometimes when you don't want them to. So I'm going to work through all of these. Oh, I forgot this one. I'm going to do this one here. Don't forget that's going behind the other one, and there's one up in here. It's a thin one, maybe that's why it broke, because it's quite a thin branch. Bring that down here like so. This is kind of just relaxing, this really, because it's just lots of little lines. Oh, somebody else there. No, Margaret. You can all have a go. It's not just for kids can have a go, adults can have a go at this too. It's a bit of fun. So we have, so that's basically the idea. I think I have them all in more or less. And now we're going to go into the leaves. Now for my green is very, very light, the one I have, the green I have. So I'm actually going to put a little bit of brown in and yellow into my green, just to give it a little bit of a, it's too light a colour, so I'll just put a bit more. So I'm just mixing, but it depends on what green you have. If you've got a good strong green that maybe has a bit of, not too garish kind of a green, you can add a little bit, a tiny bit of brown, brings it down a little bit. And this is so easy, this is really so easy to do. Just all I'm doing is literally like that. Because they've got long leaves, and you can just put them in between. And it doesn't matter if you hit in on top of your bamboo poles, because remember the leaves are going to be in front of them too. So that's quite, you can do that. But I kind of trying to keep a lot of them in between. That's just more to do, because I think it just looks nice. So we're just like lots of little, it's like we're not focused, not looking at any leaves in particular. So we're just kind of getting the idea of what it is. And it's really good fun, this. It's literally just do. And they're long, so it's literally like streaks. Now if you have a pencil, you could do it in a pencil, you could do it in marker, you could do this in crayon. It doesn't have to be paint. Just go through here like this and like that, and we just, so this is a nice little one to do. And see, when we get that done, we can just put it aside for a minute and we'll work on our panda. And I'll put this up on YouTube as well later on, so if you know anyone who doesn't have Facebook and you think they'd like to look at it, you can go onto the Cairn Hill Art channel on YouTube as well, and I've lots of the other ones up there as well, and some of the older ones for the older adults as well, the older adults, the acrylic classes. Or some of the older children could follow them too. Now, here we go. So here we are. Lots of these little lines, and it's looks quite nice. I think it does anyway. It's like a little pattern. It looks a bit like something you'd have, sort of, well, like a design on something, like a placemat maybe or something. And you'd have at your table. I don't know. Okay. Something like And we'll fill in all these spaces kind of roughly. It just gives the impression of where he is, and it's like a, you know, now it's a forest. It's a bamboo forest. You'd know what it is, and that's the main thing. And because pandas love bamboo. That's what they eat in the wild. Very cute looking animals, but I think they can be dangerous enough as far as I know. They, you know, wouldn't want to go over and pet them now. Maybe they like to keep their space. They like to be to themselves. But then that's a lot of animals in the wild too do, don't they? They don't. They like to have their own little space to do their own little thing. And this fella looks like he's a very well fed panda anyway. So he's definitely enjoying his extra portion of bamboo. You'd wonder if they ever get bored eating bamboo all the time. I really eat other things. I don't know that much about pandas now, to be honest. But I do know they like bamboo. So here we go. Now we're nearly there. Okay. So we've got this done. We'll just put this page aside. Oh yes, we have to do the grass at the bottom. Forgot about the grass. Because you want to have them sitting down on the grass. So, okay. So I'm just going to literally the same colour. The bit of green with a little bit of yellow and brown I put through it. But it depends on the colour green you have. Just don't have it sort of if it's too garish colour. And I'm just going up and down like that. Can you see? See? Like that. Now, very simple to do. And you can put little bits of yellow even through it. You know, you can just get bits of yellow if you're using paints. You don't have to use all the same colour all the time. It's quite nice to mix the paints just on the page too. So you get nice different glow of colours coming through like that, you see? Just cut that. I have a bit of tape on the bottom of this page, so that's why it's what you got now. Okay, so I'm just going to put this aside for a minute. Take that other page out there. My dinosaur one underneath here too. So I'm going to just take that out of there. That's for the other day. Now, and I'm just going to leave it aside for a minute, okay? And we're going to come to the panda, and I'm going to get my other little piece of paper here. Now, I'm going to use, now you can actually, this time you can actually go fairly heavy, because I usually say to go very light, and you can go light, but do remember to always hold your brush, your pencil nice and light in your hand. Don't hold it like you're drawing a picture, because it's slightly, like you're writing I should say. You hold it like you're drawing, so you hold it nice and light. But you can make darker marks this time, for the simple reason that we're going to have black and white, so it's going to be, it won't matter. There's not too many lines you're going to have to rub out, which we often do. We often rub out our lines, okay? So, what we start with, go up fairly to near the top of this sheet. You can see the size of it compared to the page I had. So there's the page I have, so I'm kind of working in that size of the page. So we want to have him so that he's big enough on the page, so he's not too small. So you really see him, okay? Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to have him, it's kind of like not nearly a circle, but not quite a circle. So you can just watch the shape I'm doing. It's kind of like that sort of a shape. So do you see there's a kind of it's sort of like a squash, slightly squash circle. But even if you do a circle, you can just change it slightly as you go along. Okay? And we're going to put a little ear on the top like that. And another ear on the top like that. Okay, so now what we're not going to do is we're not going to make this, we're going to put his nose over to the side. But first of all, we'll put his nose about here. So if you come over just a little bit in on the left and you put a triangle like that. Because he's not looking straight at the camera. He's looking over a little bit to the side, okay? And then we're going to put a line down like that. See? And then we've got a smiley kind of a face like that. Oh, can you see that there? Smiley face like that, okay? And then this is two big eyes. So one eye will actually be nearer the nose because we're looking, as I say, because he's looking at an angle, we're not looking at him front face. And we're going to put a kind of an egg shape here. So we've got an egg shape here. Look, just above on the to the side of the eye, okay? And we're going to put a little bit over here. We're going to put another egg shape, but it's a little bit higher, like that. Okay. And then we can just put two small little shapes inside. We'll come back and do the eyes in detail like that. Two little smaller eggs inside like that. Now, okay, we'll come back and do his eyes in a minute, but I'm going to do a big shape for his body. So it's going to be a big round, or kind of a big kind of a, what would you call this shape? It's not a circle, and it's like a big, I don't know, blob shape. I suppose that's about the best I could call that, is a blob. And it doesn't matter if it's dark, because the legs are going to be black, it doesn't matter if you let your line go quite dark. Oh dear, let my paints fall here. That was that crash, if you heard it. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to put the leg here. So we've got the front leg here like this, and it's going to come down like that. So it's going to follow the shape of the body, and then we just put a little foot on the end like that. Look. Now, do you see that? Oh, maybe you can see it there better, sorry. Okay, so what we do next is, then we just put a little bit like, you see there now, can you see it there? I said the line, put a little bit like that, and that's this far leg, like that, and his little foot coming out like that. Now, we do his hand. Now this is really easy, because all we do is, don't mind this line coming through here. All we have to do is draw a bit up like that and around like that. So you're drawing around like that there. And it doesn't matter about that line, because we're doing it in black. So you get away with a lot this time, which you don't have to rub out your lines, which is really handy. So now we can go back up and do his little eye here, and we just put a little eye like that. You can do that with the pencil if you want, with the dark pencil. See, like that. And you can leave a little space then for the little light bit here. And he's eating a little bit of a bamboo stick, so we'll put a little line in there. Now, okay, so now we go and paint him. So really he is so easy to paint, because mainly what colour is he? He's black and white. So I'm going to leave the page colour, and I'm just going to put a little bit of, we'll put a little bit of furry look after. But we're going to start with the black. So we just literally get our black. It's as simple as that. And I'm going to colour him in all his arm bit in here. Now you see why it didn't matter about your, it didn't matter about the lines in it. It's easier this time than other. Yeah, you can see there, yeah. So we're going to put, oops, I went in a bit in his face there a bit. So we're going to put you can use different colour. You don't have to use, you could use crayon, you could use marker, whatever, but it's easy with paint because you colour a good bit at one time, which is handy. So there we go, like that. And we're going to colour in his ear. Both ears. We can actually bring this bit down a little bit. See this one here? We could make it come down a little bit into his head, and the reason is because it's nearer to you, it's near this side of you, so you'll see a little bit more of this ear than you see of this ear. So this ear here is further away. I'm going to make that ear a little bit bigger actually, because it looks a bit too small. And we're going to do in there, okay? We're going to colour in his little nose, like that. Okay, and we're going to colour around his eyes. A bit more here. I do have my glasses on doing this, so good. That's the best thing about being young boys and girls. You don't need glasses for work like this. Okay, now here we go. We're going to do his leg, bottom leg here like that. And this is just straightforward, so straightforward. It's really probably one of the easiest ones we've drawn in that way, because it doesn't matter about the lines. You can get away with not having to rub them out. Okay, so we're going to put them all in like that. Okay, and then we're going to do this one here, this leg here, and his little footykins at the back. Here we go. So that's nearly him done, because now what we're going to do is put on a little bit of a furry look on him. So how do I do that? We're going to keep that little bit of black on the brush, just sort of wipe it off a little bit on a piece of paper, but don't take it off altogether. So you still have a little bit, and then get your white. So you end up with a very light grey colour, like a really light, so really light grey. And we're going to just put a little bit of a furry feeling on. I'm going to show this up close again. So you can see there, look, like that, look. just a few little tips like that through. So it's much more white than there is black, because black is very, very strong, and if you put too much black, it'll just go really dark very quickly. So just little tiny bits of grey, and you can put a few little tips in on, but do very little brush. And you can put a little on this side of his nose, you see, over this side. You can put a little bit in there. And you can put little tips on his head, but very lightly. Just little flickies. And you see, it's not dots, it's like little bits. But you can do this with a crayon or a pencil crayon, just as easy. It'd be very handy, actually, to do it like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of his tongue in, because he's got a tongue in there. And I'm going to use tiny bit of red and white to make a pink colour. So a little bit of red, like that. A little bit of white, like that. See there? And I'm just going to stick that in here, in his little mouth. Now, and then the last little bit, really, we'll come back over the little bits afterwards when we stick them on the page. We'll just tidy them up. But we want to put a few little green leaves, because he's eaten the bamboo, remember? So we'll go back to our green we had for our bamboo leaves. Just a little bit. You don't need a lot. And we're going to put one or two, a few little leaves sticking out of that little branchy bit that I put near his mouth. So he's just about to eat some nice bamboo, so he is, right? So now what we do is we get our scissors, wherever our scissors is, here it is, and we cut him out. And this is, at least he's a nice easy one to cut out, because sometimes it can be quite difficult to cut out, but he's probably the easiest one we've had to cut out so far, so, because he's just basically a big round shape with the little bits on him. Now, so, I think we have left it, no, not happened. Okay, so there we go. Put him in like that, around here, around his ear. I'm just going to take that bit off. We'll go around his ear like this, and around his ear here. See? Took a bit off that ear, but doesn't matter, it was a bit too big anyway. And we're going to get down here, up around his hand, take that off. It's easy to cut it along as I'm going along. Then we're going to get here. And then we can, here like this, get around this little foot. Now, there we go. So there he is now, okay? So now what we do is we take our other one, like this. And we're going to just get some glue. I'm using some of this kind of glue here. You can use something like Pritt stick or any kind of glue, any kind of PVA glue would be good. I'm getting to the end of this one. I think I have another one somewhere. Get enough out of this to just stick him. Make sure you go into the edges and the corners. There's not too many corners on him now, but any corners that you get so that you don't have his ears, for example, sticking off the page, okay? Now, there we go. And now we sit him on the grass like this. And there he is. Now I'm just going to go in with the black. If you have a dark pencil or marker, like you can just sort of go around the edges. You go around the edge of his nose there. And you can go around his little mouth. Give him a little sort of more, and even in the corner of his mouth, I'll show you now. Just that little corner of his mouth here. You could make that little bit of black in here like that. And just go back over the sticky bit here as well. So you can just get any little bits that you might have missed earlier on with a black crayon or a black marker or whatever. And that's really him. That is our panda in the forest. Just glue him down a bit better there. And that's it. And I think he was really fun to draw, actually. I really enjoyed doing him. And he's nice and simple. So what have we left to do? We have to see what we're doing the next day. As I say, if you have any suggestions, I don't see any. There might be something comes up after, say when I look on the laptop or whatever. I'm not too sure, but anyway, I have a few here, so I'm going to put my hand into the thing, and I'm going to see what I'm going to pick out, okay? And the clue what I'm going to pick out. Okay, here's one here. So let's see what we're going to do next time. On Tuesday, we're going to do a ladybird. Okay, so it's a ladybird in a bush. This could be quite nice, because we could do a nice big flower beside a ladybird, which could be quite good. So we'll do a ladybird in a bush, and I think that was one of your suggestions from the other day. And please, if you have any more, please let me know, and I will put them in the tub for next time. Okay, so listen, thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And please, if you can give the video a share anywhere, that would be great, because I'm really doing this so that people and kids have something to do. Maybe you have to on a loose end during this time. So thanks a million, and see you again. Bye bye.